Welcome to Chasing Curiosity TV. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates. The U.S.-Philippines relationship is rooted in a complex and often turbulent history, shaped by colonialism, war, and evolving security partnerships. The story begins at the turn of the 20th century, when the United States took control of the Philippines following the Spanish-American War. This period of American colonial rule left a lasting imprint on the islands, influencing everything from governance to military organization. Over the decades, the two nations' destinies became increasingly intertwined, setting the stage for a unique alliance in the Asia-Pacific region. The partnership was truly forged in the crucible of World War II. American and Filipino soldiers stood shoulder to shoulder, fighting valiantly against the Japanese invasion. The harrowing battles of Bataan and Corregidor became symbols of shared sacrifice and resilience, creating a powerful bond that would endure for generations. The war not only tested their resolve but also cemented a sense of camaraderie and mutual reliance that would shape future military cooperation. In the aftermath of the war, the 1951 Mutual Defense Treaty formalized this partnership, pledging that both nations would come to each other's aid in the event of an armed attack. This treaty became the cornerstone of their security relationship, reflecting a shared commitment to peace and stability in the region. It also signaled the Philippines' strategic importance to the United States during the early years of the Cold War. However, the presence of large American military bases such as Clark Air Base and Subic Bay became increasingly contentious over time. While these bases provided security and economic benefits, they also sparked debates about national sovereignty and the true nature of the alliance. Protests and political movements emerged, demanding a more balanced relationship and greater respect for Philippine autonomy. During the Cold War, the Philippines was seen as a critical bastion against the spread of communism in Asia. U.S. military presence in the archipelago was a key element of America's regional strategy, deterring potential adversaries and projecting power across the Pacific. Yet, as the Cold War ended, the rationale for such a heavy footprint began to fade, prompting both nations to reconsider the terms of their alliance. In a historic move in 1991, the Philippine Senate voted to reject the renewal of the Bases Treaty, leading to the withdrawal of U.S. forces. This decision marked a turning point as the Philippines asserted its sovereignty and sought a more equal partnership with the United States. The closure of the bases was a moment of national pride, but it also raised new questions about security and regional stability. The dawn of the 21st century brought new challenges. The rise of China as a regional power and the emergence of global terrorism renewed the urgency of U.S.-Philippine security cooperation. Joint military exercises and intelligence sharing became vital tools in addressing these evolving threats, reinforcing the enduring relevance of the alliance. In 1999, the Visiting Forces Agreement was signed, allowing U.S. troops to return for joint exercises and humanitarian missions. This agreement reflected a new era of flexible, adaptive military collaboration, designed to meet the demands of a rapidly changing security environment. It also underscored the mutual benefits of continued partnership, from disaster response to counterterrorism. Despite political ups and downs, the strategic logic for a U.S.-Philippines partnership remains compelling. The geography of the Indo-Pacific, shifting regional power dynamics, and shared democratic values continue to drive both nations to work together. As new challenges arise, the historical tapestry of their military ties provides a strong foundation for future cooperation and mutual support. Subic Bay, a geographic masterpiece carved by nature and history alike, stands as one of the most significant deep-water harbors in the world. Its natural protection, deep channels, and proximity to vital sea lanes have made it a coveted asset for centuries. This unique location grants Subic Bay unparalleled strategic value in Southeast Asia, serving as a gateway between the Pacific Ocean and the contested waters of the South China Sea. For military planners, it's a linchpin that can tip the balance of power in the region. Once the logistical heart of the U.S. 7th Fleet, Subic Bay was more than just a port. It was the nerve center from which American power was projected across the vast Pacific, supporting operations from Korea to Vietnam and beyond. During the Vietnam War, Subic Bay became a lifeline for U.S. forces, handling everything from ammunition and fuel to repairs and rest for thousands of servicemen. Its role was so vital that it came to symbolize unwavering American commitment to its allies and interests in Asia. The closure of Subic Bay in 1992 marked the end of an era, leaving a strategic vacuum that complicated U.S. military logistics increased operational costs, and forced a re-evaluation of America's presence in the Pacific. For the Philippines, it was both a moment of regained sovereignty and economic uncertainty. Today, as the U.S. renews its partnership with the Philippines amid rising regional tensions, Subic Bay's strategic importance is once again in the spotlight. Modern upgrades and joint exercises signal a new chapter in military cooperation. While the return of a massive permanent base remains politically sensitive, the ability for U.S. forces to regularly access Subic's world-class facilities is a game-changer, offering flexibility and rapid deployment options without the footprint of the past. Subic's location, just a short sail from the South China Sea, dramatically enhances the U.S. Navy's response times and operational readiness, allowing for swift action in a region marked by growing competition and uncertainty. In many ways, Subic Bay now represents the resurgence of American naval power in the Pacific, a crucial asset in the unfolding geopolitical competition, and a symbol of enduring partnership and shared security in a rapidly changing world. In recent years, China's rise as a formidable military force has become increasingly evident, especially in the contested waters of the South China Sea. This vast maritime region, rich in resources and strategic value, has become the stage for a dramatic shift in power dynamics. China's growing naval presence with advanced warships and patrol vessels signals a clear intent to project power far beyond its shores. China claims nearly the entire South China Sea, demarcating its so-called nine-dash line that sweeps across waters also claimed by neighboring countries. These sweeping claims overlap with the exclusive economic zones of nations like the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Brunei, creating a web of disputes and rising tensions. Through a massive campaign of island building, China has transformed once submerged reefs into sprawling military outposts. These artificial islands now bristle with runways, radar installations, and missile systems, fundamentally altering the strategic landscape and giving China a permanent foothold in the heart of the sea. Beyond its navy, China deploys Coast Guard ships and a vast maritime militia, civilian vessels operating under government direction to enforce its claims. These forces routinely shadow, harass, and sometimes block the vessels of other nations, pushing rivals out of contested waters without resorting to open warfare. The South China Sea is not just a regional flashpoint, it is a lifeline for global commerce. Over a third of the world's maritime trade passes through these waters. China's growing dominance threatens the freedom of navigation and the sovereignty of Southeast Asian nations, raising alarms far beyond the region. For the Philippines, the stakes are existential. Filipino fishermen find themselves outnumbered and outmaneuvered in their own traditional fishing grounds, while Chinese ships loom just beyond the horizon. The struggle is not just about territory, but about access to vital resources and the right to self-determination. China's assertive actions have forced neighboring countries to rethink their security strategies. Regional militaries are modernizing, and calls for a stronger U.S. presence have grown louder, fueling an arms race and heightening the risk of confrontation. The threat posed by China's expansion is not abstract. It is visible from the shores of the Philippines, where distant Chinese structures now dot the horizon. For many, this encroachment demands a credible and coordinated response, as the future of the region hangs in the balance. The 2014 Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, EDCA, is a modern alliance framework. EDCA allows U.S. forces to rotate troops and pre-position equipment at Philippine bases, respecting sovereignty. It provides a distributed military posture, enhancing U.S. operational flexibility and rapid deployment. For the Philippines, EDCA modernizes the armed forces, with U.S. funding for infrastructure upgrades. Joint training improves Filipino forces' interoperability and effectiveness. EDCA deters potential adversaries, raising stakes of aggression against the Philippines. It's a powerful tool strengthening the Philippines' defense, regional stability, and U.S. security commitment. EDCA sites are strategically placed to address the Philippines' security concerns. Northern sites near Taiwan are crucial for monitoring and logistics in potential conflicts. Sites overlooking the South China Sea, like Antonio Bautista Air Base, deter encroachment and protect resources. These sites also aid in disaster relief, with pre-positioned equipment for rapid response. The infrastructure upgrades provide economic benefits, creating jobs and stimulating local economies. The presence of U.S. personnel boosts local commerce, fostering a stakeholder relationship. EDCA integrates military strategy with humanitarian assistance and economic development, enhancing security. The US-Philippine alliance through EDSA is a significant move in the Indo-Pacific. Southeast Asian nations face difficulty balancing relations with the US and China. The US presence in the Philippines counters China's dominance, benefiting smaller nations. However, some ASEAN countries fear increased tensions and being forced to choose sides. The alliance represents a hardening of geopolitical lines, accelerating regional realignment. The Philippines bets on the US as its security guarantor, influencing other regional actors. ASEAN's principle of centrality is strained by US-China rivalry and the Philippines' alliance with Washington. ASEAN's consensus-based approach is challenged by divisions between maritime and mainland states. The US-Philippine alliance complicates negotiations with China, highlighting mini-lateralism. The Philippines strengthens ties with the US, Japan, and Australia, creating a complex security architecture. ASEAN must adapt to remain relevant, allowing flexible arrangements for member states. The path chosen will impact Southeast Asia's stability. The Philippines elevates its stature by revitalizing its alliance with the US. Hosting an expanded US presence marks a transformation from a passive observer to a proactive player. The alliance enhances the Philippines' diplomatic leverage and attractiveness as a security partner. It accelerates the modernization of the armed forces, building self-reliance and strengthening the alliance. The Philippines transitions from an object of competition to an active subject shaping its destiny. Anchoring to the US alliance provides security, technology, and diplomatic clout. The US-Philippine alliance requires careful management and sustained political will. The partnership must respect Philippine sovereignty and deliver tangible benefits to Filipinos. Economic investment, trade, and development assistance are crucial for deepening the alliance. The US must demonstrate consistent commitment to the region, ensuring the alliance's effectiveness. The future rests on a shared vision for a free and open Indo-Pacific, upholding a rules-based order. The alliance secures space for diplomacy and prosperity, serving as a pillar of regional stability.